New business, consider. Oh, good. Consideration of the minutes on the September 18th, 2024 meeting. Does anybody have any changes in the minutes?
Dan made a nice change and a suggestion, and so we corrected that and sent it back out.
Yes,
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Approved. Our topic today is the discussion of future land use chapter policies and strategies to include the growth area. Ryan, would you like to lead off with that?
I sent out that first run at the new growth area map. Not sure if you guys have all had a chance to look at it. I did bring a large copy that we can draw on for any changes we want to make.
So, according to the communication that was happening, over the past few days, Anthony did make some suggestions on East West Lane and Oakwood Drive. Or their subdivisions just off there and Maplewood Drive. One's off the Point Road, one's off the West Road.
Okay.
And then George said that there were 2 lots currently for sale down by the abandoned landfill.
Yeah, there's one, Bill Parody owns one just before it, and I'm not exactly sure what the second one is.
And the other thing is I did pull off all the for sale land in Belgrade. And there are 10 lots, plus Craig has a few lots that one he's gonna actually build on, he's gonna actually build on one. So there's really 13 parcels that are just land now that are for sale or going to be sold at some point.
So are those otherwise connected to the growth area or in it already?
These are the areas that those are in, so I'm just gonna give you that.
Okay, how does that overlap with the proposed growth areas? So
They're-
the
they're-
goal is to expand it without making it look like polka dots.
Right, I think that most of these are in or maybe just out,
Okay.
so you could incorporate that. Greg's is kind of more up in this area here, but the others are noted. And if you look, they are in most of the growth areas.
Oakwood is kind of out in left field, and mostly that you're familiar with Oakwood, that's what 2/3 built out right now,
At least, yeah.
at least 2/3.
Go down.
Okay, yeah, so those aren't even remotely close to any proposed growth area.
What are the pink?
And the 2 large
The
lots,
pink's the existing from the old plan.
Uh,
The yellow is what we are proposing to expand it to.
no, Pat, the 2 large lots that George is referencing by the landfill, aren't those going to conservation?
I don't know about them, the one piece, the McGee property has been purchased by the Seven Lakes Alliance.
Yeah, a lot,
The lots are on the other side of the,
before,
Yeah,
that
before
was
that.
just one single law.
that's what I thought, there's one with a sale sign on it now.
Yeah.
Well, that area in large was suggested to be included in the growth area. So I don't know how we want to do this.
Put it on the center table.
I- Highlighted. Yours showed a lot better. You want me to just highlight the areas in yellow?
Yeah, I think that
Because,
works.
This area basically down to Waits Mill. Over to the west.
That's the McGee property.
I don't know who owns it, I'm just looking at large, it was including this Deer Run parcel. That's, what about 50% built out? The subdivision. Basically all around. To. Here.
Let me just give them the front door.
Don't bother. It's like a bounce back. Okay, and this Minot Hill. What I recommend is it stop here after Pheasant Run. And not continue to here, but again, it's open for discussion.
Well, that was my only concern that I really saw. But I was looking on a small scale, but the Minot Hill.
Yeah.
Road that goes between Hammond Lumber and 135.
Mhm.
Is that a conflict with our commercial solar ordinance where? We have, verbiage in there not to use farmland. And that's all farmland, so. If we put that into a growth area, would it conflict with our not wanting a solar farm and farmland?
No, because the growth area is for residential.
Yeah.
That's just residential alone,
Not industrial.
Yes.
Not commercial.
right?
So,
So,
and then I was, and that, yeah, this was. Included. And over to. Extending,
so what are you drawing in, what
this is just proposed,
proposed?
yeah. So it goes with this hatchwork stuff, this is all proposed. Growth area.
Yeah, our printer didn't print this out very well, our large scale.
And this area should not be in it, but this area here should. So I'm gonna put a pink marker over. What was not. Recommended.
What are you talking with, not recommended, I hope,
Well, just. For where the growth is occurring. The trends right now. This is location road. Bartlett Way,
that's all built up.
it's built up and the roads are really substandard. This is in the subdivision that was,
That deal around,
no, this is Mill Stream Loop,
those two.
it's opposite location road.
Yeah,
And it hasn't been built up, but it's starting to grow some. Again, you don't want polka dots, so
Yeah,
that might be something you take off.
yeah, we'll have to do,
Just have,
I'll sit down and do the math about these properties and see what we come up to, and if it's gonna be
and
contained enough.
roll. Oh, yeah, that church. So. So this be extended out. To include to where that church is, the church property, and just on one side of the road. This side of Dunn Road was not recommended, so. While it's very scenic, it's really not conducive to subdivision because it's got a slope that come to the water.
So are we going to take out any of the growth area that had been there for reasons that they're on an aquifer or not a great, we're discovering it's not a great spot for it?
I mean, that's something we're gonna have to discuss. This is all going off of. You know, I did those calculations about how many more houses we need to accommodate for based off of the existing growth area. So if we start taking it out, then we'll have to look at that again.
As you- yeah. Well, that's actually this whole piece is. Booker. So. This is being timbered right now, it's just a large parcel, it's connected to here, so I included it, that's in Keith's land, or I don't know.
So where
It's
is
on
it?
Raw Pond Road, and this is the Stevens Farm. Down here, you got the Belgrade Estates. And then-
There are already a couple of houses. Mhm.
Yeah.
On this side.
Looks a lot more than what we actually need, right?
Well, you look at existing growth areas. And they're not really growing, plus they're on the aquifer. I mean, this whole area, the aquifer kind of runs up through the pond. So North Belgrade is really. The best land suited for some growth in Dunwoody. We're not really adding anything. This should probably be taken out. That wasn't intended to be included.
Okay.
I mean, because that's your main corridor and part of the plan, strategic plan is to avoid having all your main corridors. So, remove all that. And just extend that a little bit.
Okay.
And the reason the church. How the ordinances interweave. They want to have a digital display sign for their hours and their events coming up. Well, without being in the growth area. They're not allowed to have a digital sign.
Wow.
So. That's,
I don't know why you want to take this out. And
again,
that's down
part of
part
this.
7, there's some big parcels there that. Would be better off residential than they would be commercial.
And the strategic. Plans is not to include all of your arteries. But I hear what you're saying, and another discussion that was had in this room was. Nobody wants to live on the highway, and they want to live someplace quiet.
Mhm.
So having that in our growth area, and it doesn't really grow. Doesn't. Lend itself to good decision making.
Well, there's plenty of big parcels there, you can get off the road. Tony Tigers, that's 100 acres there.
Yeah, that's this piece here, right?
Yeah,
And isn't that mostly forest wooded,
Well, probably,
forested wetlands?
as you quickly go up a hill, you probably got 300 feet of, 400-500 feet of flat, and it rises up to a depth a little.
Once you get a road in there, it's a good land.
Just, just the flat part near the road is the good land, as far as I remember. But I haven't been up there. in years.
I'm not that familiar, I'm just going, finding old subdivisions that work, and I'm trying to target. What's already, the work is already halfway done. Just. And again, there's no incentives. For these growth areas to be there, I mean. It's not like the state gives you a rebate on your taxes if you build in a subdivision.
so where's all that?
That's opposite McGraw Pond. I think they're timbering in there now. No,
Oh, that's the King Brothers. Yeah,
I think it is.
yeah, that's the King Brothers. It's
Yeah,
like
tax
this,
maps.
this
The tax map, I pulled up the.
can, yeah, it's back here. And I'm just curious as to why this is marked as a growth area, because these are lots that individually owned that go all the way back to the road. So why would that be a growth?
It's just the traditional map, that's kind of just what it was. So I outlined these lots adjoining, abutting them. So,
And this was just upside the road, but yeah, they do come up all the way to the road.
Yeah. That's just-
so
I
unless
was there on the look when they originally made it, but.
can we take out that side of the road? That would make sense, you
Well, you want to do,
know, just,
I think
it's
you have
already
to do it, you have to
previous,
do it carefully, because.
it's already previous growth, I would almost leave it so we have it. It's really not gonna affect anything. Is it, I mean, yeah,
These properties are restricted by covenants,
Right.
they can't build anything up here.
Right.
So that's why I'm surprised that it's
Because
in
it's
the
in
growth
the-
area, because in the subdivision covenants, you can't build in that.
Mhm.
No,
I think they're, when they originally did it, they were looking for, they just went up the side of the road, they just,
Yeah, that's what it was.
road 8 would go from here to here.
Yeah.
I don't think I would take too much out, I would kind of leave what's in there in there. Just so we keep our space that we already have. Unless you think that's wrong thinking, but
No, I mean, it's.
I mean, add what we wanna add, but I wouldn't take much out.
Well, and by adding this, these are all places that are, this is probably most in the public view as you drive by. These other
I don't
places.
think he's developed, developed, but
I don't think you would either, but
that's a big, that would be sad to see.
But the growth naturally occurring on McGraw Pond is commuter traffic to Oakland. Out here, it's commuter traffic going up to Manchester, Winthrop direction. Or Augusta.
Does that give us all we need, what we've got?
I'll have to sit down and count parcels.
Or you count parcels or acreage?
Mix of both. So it ends up being. However it's done, though. Let's go back to the housing chapter and look at the.
I don't know, I mean, I guess, I don't understand why all this is. This is-
Because that was in the village district, so it's a growth district.
This is the old map, this,
Okay.
and that's the old. North Belgrade Village,
Okay.
basically from
Okay,
So that's already established, but we just need to establish a little more.
okay.
And I don't know if I could
well, we can get that out. I mean, this
do
is-
that, that would be a sad thing to see, but. I mean, it could happen regardless anyways, if you wanted to do it,
Exactly,
yeah,
and the land being cleared,
Which piece is that?
that's your looks. Well, not looks, it's the old Coombs property, and there's what, a couple hundred acres there.
yes.
Kitty Brothers have their logging operation
Yeah,
there.
McGraw Pond Road comes out here.
yeah.
And actually, they might be actually logging up here, I'm not sure. But it was a large parcel that was attached,
There's a field. and
Yeah,
then
this is, it's very open.
and this is all forever farmland over here, right?
Yes. The big fit trail.
Right here.
So it's a big parcel that goes all the way over almost to Stevens Road, it's been broken up. Used to go all the way to Stevens Road.
So we estimated needing 118 new housing units by 2040. And so,
Yeah, I mean, so we
Combine that
don't,
with
we don't
the
need
lot
all,
size.
we don't need all of this thing because. Then we come up with like 40 or something, 30 or 40, the last meeting,
Already exists.
that's potential to be built.
yeah, in the pink.
I think it was 60, it might have been 60 additional housing units
That were already
Yes,
we
established.
needed.
that we need.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had a good portion of that already established,
Yeah,
Yes,
so we don't need a ton. Or go too much, so.
I'm misunderstanding. So there were 60 available parcels in the existing growth
No.
area.
no, we needed to, based on the goal of the state of 9.1%
Yeah.
increase, 289 residents. came to approximately 60 additional house units that we need to have, you know.
No, so we
growth
needed
areas.
118 housing units. I believe there were 40 some lots in the existing growth area,
But by 2040,
the 2040.
okay, we're talking for. Okay,
So I believe in the existing growth area, what we. um, 54 undeveloped lots in the growth areas
Is what we have,
is what we had, so
so we needed another 60-ish.
64.
64 new ones.
64 is what we need.
okay, maybe,
Okay, so that's on both,
And so we needed 130 acres, basically, with your minimum lot size.
minimum lot size an acre.
And
What about all the vacant buildings? I was astounded that there are 985 vacant structures in Belgrade.
yeah, so that is a weird part of the census is that it does take into account seasonal because of how it counts. A lot of it goes on income tax. And where you were when the survey was taken. So I think like 800, some of those are seasonal.
Okay. Because there's also a separate line for seasonal.
Right, and so they don't, the census doesn't differentiate, it just says vacant and seasonal. But seasonal can also be vacant. The square's a rectangle kind of thing, it's,
Okay.
Subdivision is this one, right? One tail.
Sandy Cove. Yeah,
That's I'm getting to it, is that? Birch or, no,
I'm sure which one.
I'd say about 10 lot subdivision,
14,
14.
this Holly Hill Drive. On your access map.
the Dunn Road has. 16 acres. For sale right now. That's two different,
Couple of those waterfront lots.
I don't believe they're on the lot, no. Yes. Yes.
yeah, I tried to keep it away from tributary streams and. There's really this area, I don't see any growth there.
So if we have some abundance that we come up with, rather than including these whole parcels, maybe scale back like what they've kept on, scale, include part of up next to the road, so this backcountry doesn't get,
One that would be wetland, that would be wetlands.
that'd be wetland there. But we could still scale them back if possible.
Well, this one that runs through, that's Pepin,
Yeah,
it's never gonna be built.
well, it's up for sale,
Is it?
yeah. It may not be listed, but it's for sale.
Which one's that?
That's that one that used to be, Columbia for, I mean, that's Deer Haven.
Jim Pepin owns it.
Mhm.
Not Jim, no, Robert.
So if we have too many, how do you want to start scaling that?
Well, take these bigger parcels and just scale them down towards the road.
Well, that's what I didn't understand, our existing road area. You know, you've got straight lines running up, so this is supposed to indicate like 200 feet off the road, or is it? Any
Well, I
parcel
mean, if
that
you-
this touches,
It's gonna be parcels.
any parcel that
Yeah.
that touches, so even if you scale it back,
So that's.
this is gonna include the whole parcel. I mean, if we scaled this back to run like this, it's still gonna include everything
Mhm.
all the way out.
So do we wanna go closest to the existing or kind of these little subdivisions?
I know, it's one in this.
I did too, I got a whole new set of glasses I can't use, it just, they say they're right, but you know.
So where is
Did
this?
you do the
Oh, that's
perfect
that.
lenses?
No screen.
Full screen.
These are good, because they're already part of it. Part of it.
Yeah, and again, I guess I should color this yellow to include the Pheasant Run subdivision, and it was just that one side of the road, well. I don't think there's. Cause that's a church, this side of the road is wooded,
And there's
Holly
Freedom
Lakes.
Road.
it's what,
Holly Lakes is right here.
so I mean, so basically this runs up. But you got that to here. My intention was to stop there, cause these are pretty much just all private homes anyways. I don't know if I've ever been in their rooms.
This is the one,
It's at West Road.
yeah.
Yeah, done
This is
comes
the
around.
done road. And so is this actually developed?
I don't know. It's what it was. We'll see.
Oh, Sandy Cove, that's in
Well, that's Sandy Cove Road goes
Sandy Cove
by.
Road, yeah.
So they're not built.
Yeah, because the development is on the other side.
But I think that's where Ed, our former facility, is.
This Tyler, well, what, Evans subdivision that he has approved, that he hasn't done yet, that's on the done road.
So it's. Who owns, like, put all of it, so you could, LLC,
Yeah,
yeah,
our turn.
our turn, LLC,
Out of Rio. Teachers.
so that's an undeveloped subdivision there.
Keep it yellow.
Make it yellow.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds kind of centralizes the new growth areas to
Yeah.
one end of town, and it's not on a major
Main.
artery. It's not gonna mess with the aesthetic.
Mhm.
Alright, don't worry.
Kind of, they're all pretty wooded, heavily wooded in there.
Yeah,
They all become taxpayers. Let them pay.
and I'll look at the lots and parcels, and so. As I do that, I'll go to these ones and these ones. These three first, and then include these little subdivisions. Before we start going into these bigger,
Yeah,
Right out
before we
parcels.
start going into these and those.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to cut that off, but again, this is. Environmentally, the aquifer runs right up through here.
yeah,
That's outside of the aquifer, the village is outside the aquifer.
so do we wanna do? Here. And up here? As our, top,
At least this corner here,
Mhm.
maybe if you want,
That's already.
if we got excess acreage, you know. Like,
If we have
okay,
excess, take this off. And some of those. Keep that one,
yep,
Yeah,
so
that's
this,
what I'm
these gonna be the priorities,
okay, yeah,
And this one probably too,
Yeah.
because of the church.
I mean, I think that was what we need, so.
All right, well, now that we're playing politics with the church. There's another, where the church was. It's over off of, Station Road. Probably need to do this corner. Because you got lakeside landscaping here,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and then the church lot there, which already has a digital sign. They've been using it for, I don't know, close to 6 years.
Hmm.
So either we. I don't know,
We should be consistent.
And these growth areas does not include commercial.
No.
This is all just residential.
Just where we're kind of hoping to put residential.
see like. Right, West Hill up here.
Yeah.
That's Taylor, where
That's Taylor,
West Hill is down here. That's built out. Now. That bothers me. It just includes residential because church is not residential.
No,
And this growth area is tied to our commercial ordinance
Yes.
because of the signs. So,
And probably in other ways as well. I think the growth areas, they're pushing for growth area, for commercial to go in these growth areas.
well, I don't think
The
the
only-
push is for commercial to go into the growth, because you do wanna have some separation there.
but like from this station road on over to the Oakland line. You've got that new Techno Post place, the old boat thing that Lord knows what that is. You know, down the gully by West Hill,
Couple of businesses.
before Cathedral Pines.
Mhm.
Cathedral Pines has got a subdivision coming. So, do we extend this?
Cathedral Pines would be a good place for development,
Yeah.
yes.
So
I would say
let's
yes.
extend this out. This parcel right here is gonna
It's
be,
just before Oakland, that's all good high land up in there, it's away from the lakes.
so we'll just. Do this from Station
Keep
Road to the
that.
town line.
Try to eliminate some of our big, larger parcels.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we want this to be kind of like one of the priority areas.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
from Station Road. To the town line. That would include lakeside landscaping
Okay,
and, yeah,
And church.
and that old church, which apparently was the old depot.
Yeah, wasn't that, yeah.
And they wanna turn it back to the old depot with their aesthetic. They already took the steeple down, they wanna give the depot look.
But are you saying that, that church is not related to the one on 27? They're totally separate.
It's the old location,
it's,
same
So that
church,
church, so that church is not being used in that location anymore?
not on Station Road. They've sold it.
but I just went to a funeral at this church,
Yeah.
for Dick Lavelle.
Yeah.
And there was a pastor in that church,
Okay.
presiding there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cause this church has been sold now to Lakeside Landscaping.
Probably then.
And they're gonna make it look like the depot again and make it like a retail center.
Oh, nice.
So they'll be coming for a change of use.
Oh, nice.
Is that right next to, whoop, is that right next to their property? That
Yes,
makes sense.
Across the street.
Yeah.
And that's why they want the digital sign.
Good.
They didn't buy the property because of the digital sign, but they
By
had
default.
to use it.
Yes.
I mean, they're happy when I
benefit.
told them they had to turn it off, they're. A little bit argumentative.
cool,
Yeah.
that should do it.
So should we move on to the,
The circle, right to the transfer station, like Craig said, the bigger lot.
You wanted these,
Yeah,
these little ones
sacrifice
in
this one
here.
first, you know, sacrifice from here this way.
Okay.
And keep from here to the transfer station as much as you can.
I don't, so this section here and this
Yeah,
one,
keep that too. Cause that's being built up. I don't know about that piece there. Who owns it or anything. But you can, yeah, start. Shrinking this way.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
try to include the school lot. That's a pretty special lot. We got-
Big bucks in there.
Well, it's been worked on, the guy that owned it previously, put a lot of money into that lot. And it's all just food plots and stands and it's just a,
Private club.
That Whitetail Lane or,
no,
I'm assuming they don't give out permission.
no, but Robert Pepper owns it now, so it could be sold. So I just will not see it in general growth, but
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically, we're trying to preserve some sportsman land down there, right? Is that it? No, I mean, it's
Yeah, no.
it's an incentive.
yeah, there is.
So I'll get
probably
this.
deer yard, stuff in there.
Maybe the town should buy it, maybe the sports.
Tweaked and sent back out to everybody in the next couple weeks and.
Rodney, do we have anything more on the growth area discussion? No.
No, I don't think so. I think we'll just have to see how this looks and make sure that it meets the numbers that we're looking at.
64.
Yep.
64. I think that was good, having a participation today. It's a lot easier, to look right at it together and figure it out rather than just on a slideshow or something. It helped a lot. Thank you all for doing that. Next, part of business is a discussion and consideration of the survey and public participation event. Rania, you wanna
So,
lead on that
as
again?
far as I'm aware, we're still scheduled to host that next month. Do we know if we're good to go for that? I mean,
As far as I know, we're good to go. I think it's on the town calendar. And it's scheduled for the Center for All Seasons. But at this point in time, there is no, meeting owl kind of system in there. There's a plan to buy one. There's money to buy one. They're considering which one to buy, but I don't know if there's one that's going to be
we have
installed.
an owl. KB Cog does, so we can use that. We have a projector, a mobile pop-up screen.
Okay,
So
so
I-
I think that's important to be able to.
Yeah,
Record the meeting for people to be able to view it remotely, even if they can't, actively participate. But if they can participate, so much the better, but. Unless we move this system down here, which probably would not be possible.
no, I can bring all of our stuff.
Okay, that would be great, And if the center acquires it before then we
Yeah.
might know.
What kind of setup do we want? Are we looking at kind of just having people sit in chairs? Do we want, round table type discussions? How interactive do we want it to be?
Probably like a town meeting type thing.
Yeah.
Some chairs, like you guys be set up like they're set up,
Mhm.
and then chairs. I mean, I'm not part of it, but
That sounds good.
that's the way we run our town meetings here, so
Mhm.
everybody's familiar with that setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So we had discussed previously that Rainey would start the
Grania.
meeting Grania, sorry,
Right,
Grania. That she would start the meeting and then there would be housing 5-minute discussion that they assigned to me, and Pat was going to do land use.
I think mostly water, the
Conservation,
natural resources.
and then,
Anthony's tackling the land use, yeah.
and then questions at the end. Is
So
that
just
still-
those 3 chapters
Yes,
being described.
yeah.
I went ahead and made some slides up. I didn't know what information we wanted in them, we were just kind of getting close to that deadline. Have you guys all had a chance to look at the PowerPoint that I sent out?
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you for doing that.
As far as natural resources, I want to kind of sent you picture
Yeah, I
of this.
couldn't really see much in the.
But this is analysis of of the water quality in our lakes by Seven Lakes Alliance, kind of on each lake, where they stand environmentally. That's probably the biggest thing we're gonna talk about. So I'll give you this.
Okay, so I do have water quality measurements in there.
Right, it's more than measurements, it's more language, what that means. And how they rate, like a Great Pond is listed as an impaired lake by the main DP to declining water quality. These things are gonna drive our land use policies and what we do.
So is that something you want in the PowerPoint, or is that something you wanna verbally discuss?
I think it's good if they do it both, they see it and talk about
Okay.
it, and they can. Rather than just. It's easier to digest if you do have it both in front of you and discussing it. So what we'd want is. Each of our lakes. You know. Based on this, you know,
You
what
wanna do like a slide per lake?
slide per lake, or just. We have different people in different lakes, so they may have different questions, and some of it's on
You
invasive
highlight one
plants.
lake and then soften the others.
Yeah,
Just
and then
move your way
Just
around.
move around and talk and answer questions on that. And,
How does it have Salmon Lake listed?
Salmon Lake is,
That are impaired or?
well, yeah, like McGraw and Salmon. This is based on July 2024. Current water clarity is 5 feet better than last July.
Is it impaired
It's
status?
listed as threatened by Maine
Right.
DEP. It has no known invasive aquatic plants. This is the kind of stuff we'll be able to go over as we talk, and then people can answer questions, but it gives us basic data. You know, that's what we use for water quality evaluation. Salmon experiences oxygen depletion as the summer progresses, and it releases phosphorus from the sediment, while McGrath does not. So it just, not without getting too technical, people can get an idea where these lakes stand. Can always dig deeper with it, but I think that's a good,
Yeah, okay.
that's a good way to.
And so each chapter is gonna have 5 minutes. Is that the plan?
Five-ish, five-ish.
So you have 5 minutes to talk about all of the lakes, all the,
I can do it. That's
Okay.
why a simple thing, we can have that up
on the screen, yeah.
on the screen and
Good
people
idea.
can look at it. I can have I have plenty of copies I can hand out, so they'd be able to follow it.
Yeah.
So. We got 15 minutes or 5 minutes.
I would say five, give yourself 5 to 10 for each
Okay.
I
kind of
thought we said 5 to 10.
section,
That's good.
for each chapter that we're discussing.
So natural resources. That just gives me an idea.
Yep.
So this will. Just talking about that, it'd be 5 or 10 minutes. Any thoughts from you guys on this?
What topics do we want to cover in the future land use portion of this?
It's certainly a new map.
Yeah.
Describe what the growth area is and kind of
Yeah.
isn't.
Right. And that's gonna be a different meeting, or is that?
No, that's
Same
this.
meeting.
I liked what you sent us about the selected strategies
Mhm.
in that to support. Well, the growth areas.
Okay, we can put a couple of those.
Yeah, just
You use lots of complicated words to make Anthony struggle.
who's doing the growth area? I mean,
Anthony said he wants to do the land use,
okay, good.
so.
That's why I got natural resources, 5 to 10 of the lakes.
Future will be the same.
Any additional ideas on the housing area?
So I just put in. I did the type of housing. in the PowerPoint, we have type of housing that goes single, seasonal, vacant, multi, total units and the town's population.
Mhm.
And then I thought that the median value of homes and the median income and the price needed to afford the homes was something we definitely wanted to highlight.
Okay, great.
Are there any other topics that you guys kind of that we cover? I know the housing chapter we touched on a while ago, but what else about housing is it important to talk about as a whole?
Well, you gave us the survey results.
Mhm.
I don't wanna get out of order if this is gonna be discussed, but when the housing questions in here. My question 6, what type of housing needs to Belgrade needs more of? Single family, multifamily, apartment, H family and other, or others, 20%. Where do you see what other was? Says please specify, so.
Yeah.
Because as a per survey, I'm curious, well, that's kind of a large percentage.
Mhm.
Mhm.
What are people requesting?
That might be good for me to have just before the meeting, that what, as you get additional surveys in,
Mhm.
and any of the things that were written in like other.
Yeah, I can pull all that.
that's
Yeah, and
great.
the other question before that, where do you work? Augusta area, Waterbury, Lewiston area, which is 0, Belgrade, retired, and other is 29%, rounding up.
Yeah, the same as for
And
where
I
Belgrade.
assume that means at home or who knows? Oh, the others really,
That's a quarter of the population. Yeah.
significant impact on opinions here.
So how many people answered? I didn't see this.
We had
Or-
83
Usually
people
83.
answered the survey. And I didn't close it, it's still open.
And Granny, for instance, in that question about what type of housing do you think Belgrade needs more of, for the other, and it says please specify. Is there a link to see what those other? And if anybody did specify,
I think in the way that I exported this, there's not a way to see what that is. So I'll have to go back into SurveyMonkey and figure out why that didn't come through. I don't know why it wouldn't have done that.
Is there any additional way we could get the word out to the residents that we're having this meeting? Do you think it's enough? What?
I would think you should have the survey and balance on voting day. For those that haven't
Yeah, that's a good
completed, I mean,
idea.
'cause you got a large response out of North Belgrade. But North Belgrade is also a large area
Mhm.
and, you know, I'm just into numbers, so.
And I
That's,
did talk to Lorna, we are gonna not try and rush this for the March town meeting, we'll wait until June. So that we have enough time to really get it done and
Yeah.
really.
I mean, is the public aware of this meeting enough that we're going to
Is
give
it
it?
advertised enough, I think?
You think it is?
I don't know,
I don't know either.
probably not.
Probably not.
and actually, it's not on the calendar, it's on the calendar as
Yeah,
regular,
survey,
the regular
survey,
comprehensive plan
Yeah.
meeting, regular monthly meeting. Okay.
So we gotta,
I'll let Lauren know to update
No.
that.
and to kind of really beat the drum a bit to
Yeah,
Yeah,
make sure people know it comes.
Jonathan, each paper.
and has anybody notified the rec center that we're doing
that's
that?
like what?
The rec center?
Of the Center for All
Center
Seasons.
for All Seasons?
I don't know.
Okay. I'll get in touch with Dan if you want.
Will this be our only event, or are we expected to do a couple of these as we progress through?
It's up to you guys, if you wanna have this one, and then once we finalize and we're happy with the plan as a whole, we can host another one. It's entirely up to you all.
And at this event are there going to be copies of the draft as it is for people to take with them to read and comment on?
That's not, I had planned on,
I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
I don't think we've previously done that because the chapters are all available online. And just in the, spirit of saving paper. I think we could do a sign up sheet for if anybody wants digital copies sent to them. Or if they wanna, put their name down to come back and pick up some paper copies.
Yeah, I mean, the town could always print them out.
Yeah,
Barbara, so that's a map of the growth area? Is that what you were,
no, she's meaning draft chapters of the entire plan that
Oh,
we've
the-
done so far.
okay,
I mean, I just know that there's always concern about, what if people can't access it online? And we don't wanna discriminate against them, so we should have
Right.
some way for them
to get it.
to be able to get it.
In the advertisement, you'll always just say, email the town office and say, you'd like a copy? Something like that.
Well, some people don't even email, that's part of, maybe they could sign up there, like just, right?
You're right.
So they could either call the town,
Mhm.
town office or something. Or stop by and request
Call.
yeah.
I know the historical society was planning on sending a couple folks, because I guess when I met with the town historian, she had not provided the historical society with the chapter. So I've met with. I forget her name is. From the historical society. She had some.
Sharon is part of the historical society.
Yes, so I had met with Diane, the
Yeah.
historian, and I guess they hadn't,
Diane's the town historian.
and she had not
Sent
sent it to the
Yeah.
town historical society,
Oh, okay.
so.
Well, the good news is there's nothing else on the town calendar for November 20th at 5:30. So hopefully nobody's booked the Center for All Seasons or something else.
Yeah.
So we got some time.
Is there anything else we wanna include in the PowerPoint? I mean, do you all think that, we hit on. A general overview of what the comprehensive plan is supposed to be well enough, or are there any misconceptions you feel like we need to directly address?
I might wanna have another image up there for when I'm talking about the survey results from the housing.
Okay,
If that's possible, that'd be great.
what type of image? Or, I mean, do you want like a
It could have some,
digital version of the survey results, or just like?
just in the questions around housing. If we maybe had like the percentages of the results with a picture of something. I could maybe find this picture. Well, your PowerPoint is, where it's visual. You could do. Let's see here. So some of these things. You had stats,
Right.
So half the page could be stats and the other half could be a picture.
Okay, what stats do you want?
The stats from the results of the survey, questions that are related to housing, basically.
Okay,
Yeah, the one Hans brought it up earlier, right? What was, you said,
what type of housing?
what type of housing, people, their opinions on that, what is needed in Belgrade.
Hope we're not saying RVs.
And if there were written in response for other, might be helpful, just to get some other, like a few different unusual, unique answers.
And in terms of how how the PowerPoint is going to be narrated,
Mhm.
who's going to do the overview of it?
I'll do the introduction,
Okay.
kind of like what is a comp plan, that whole
Okay,
spiel. And then I just picked a couple of the policies and strategies that seemed prominent for us all. I can always change those if you all want.
No, I thought you did a good job. Very nice. Yeah, I liked what is a comprehensive plan. I liked how you set that up. Great.
I mean, is it possible just to read them off so people can, we have some on,
Yeah, so for housing, we did the policies of engage and support development to encourage workforce and age-friendly housing options. And the strategy for that is investigate non-traditional housing opportunities, i.e. cluster developments and tiny homes. And the other policy was ensure Belgrade's municipal ordinances regulating, related to, or impacting housing are reviewed regularly and kept up to date. Some of those strategies were explore options where the development of multifamily housing would be appropriate and in keeping with the town's character. Review, amend, and update all ordinances related to land use every 5 years. Incorporate bonuses for developers to cluster development. And then
What sort of bonuses would that be?
look at different minimum lot sizes, setbacks, yeah, a lot of that would be dimensional requirements.
So the bonus is actually allowing them to have some smaller lots within the subdivision to build more houses. So
I
they
think
can
that's-
sell more,
Yeah, so you have a more clustered,
And
and then inside the development, there would also be a space allocated specifically for open space that would not be developed at all. And that would probably be written in some sort of restrictive covenant or deed.
so the developer gets to build more houses.
They wouldn't necessarily build more, but they would build more in one part in order to keep another part of that subdivision open.
That's the way it is now, but you're just adding more houses to it. I don't know if I'm a fan of cluster developments in Belgrade. But, so I'm gonna say about it,
Where is it? Well,
there isn't. Why,
That's all. I
Because,
can't remember after seeing it, so.
you know. How many, well, there's a percentage they have to go by acres, well. What's my non-buildable? My non-buildable was like 6-7 acres. Out of a 20-acre parcel. So it's pretty large.
Yes.
And it's a nice subdivision, so it's not clustered. Looks good. People have their own. It's not complete privacy, but it's pretty private for houses being on top of each other like that. And they said, I don't know about cluster developments where you're shoving a couple, 3 houses on a lot. So basically what you would say is you would take my 13-house subdivision, put 26 in there.
No, so what I'm talking about is taking the 13 houses and allocating them a little bit closer to each other. So that more of that property remains open.
you wouldn't have to change your subdivision.
Right,
No, but I'm just using mine as an example, because that's what I'm most familiar with.
so
But
if you have, what I'm saying
you're
is if you
talking about
have,
putting 2 houses on a lot though, which is
or just making the minimum lot size is slightly smaller.
so you go from 40 to what?
40,000,
40,000.
take 10 off. Shrink it down a little bit so that the square footage that you're saving by doing that is not developed. So not necessarily having multiple houses on a lot, just slightly smaller houses and having. Whether that's space in between the lots, whether that's a little wood park kind of thing, something like that. I mean, and I'm sure there's other bonuses that I don't know about that I'm happy to look into and.
So just getting straight, like using Craig's subdivision as an example, which is 13 lots, so they'd still be 13 lots, they'd just be a little bit smaller.
Mhm,
But there's more, the natural space will be spread out,
mhm.
and buffers between the lots or
Yeah.
something like that.
And buffers, just.
Well, there's buffers built into what I already have.
Right, I mean, this would just be a bonus.
help so.
You know, well, no, between lots, there's a 50-foot buffer
Nice.
already built in, that's all, we already have all that stuff in place. So basically, so
I think this is
so
really
13
focusing.
lots, if you shrunk it. 10,000 feet. So that'd be 130,000 feet, so that'd be what, 3 acres you'd add on to the non-buildable at the bottom. Or wherever you decided to put it. But if you put it in between, then you're still keeping the spread. So. I don't know.
I think a lot of this was focused on the fact that. There was a lot of. Opinion that the town was needing different types of housing. That the town needed, lots that might be a little bit smaller for older residents who don't want. 2 acres to take care of, or an acre in a woodlot to take care of. Or that there might be an opportunity for some workforce housing. That, doesn't have the time. Or care to.
I think the majority of people don't want to be overcrowded, doesn't want overcrowdedness. And our minimum lot size is 1 acre, so don't. Confuse that with Rome, it's just 2. So. I think you're gonna find the majority of people wanna keep the. Country lifestyle and not the cluster.
Probably market driven what people want. They don't want it to, won't happen.
Well, people from away will come in and buy whatever. But the people in the town,
Then there's no bonus for the developer.
what's that?
Then there's no bonus for the developer. I mean, all of this is optional. None of it
Need
is.
a bonus for the developer.
But if we want to encourage housing for seniors so that they can stay in town, people who want to downsize, don't want to have to take care of. Their big houses. I mean, I think that's what, that's what,
Yeah,
idea was
that's what we're
behind
trying to
this.
get at, is that
it's an option for people.
not everybody wants to worry about a whole bunch of trees. Or if they have in your subdivision, you're saying they have a buffer, so that's a tree line. Are there lots that are completely open lawn?
There's a couple there, but they still have the buffer going there.
Right, and I mean, so that's gonna require a certain amount of mobility or money to take care of.
It's a natural buffer.
Right, but lawn, or grass, to mow, and
Like Tyler's.
that's all we're getting at, is that. It could be an option.
Right, not everybody would have to do it, but it could be an option for people to want.
And I mean, that's the whole point of the plan, it's just kind of seeing. Where we think. Options that the town could benefit for are. None of it's a requirement, none of it's mandatory, it's just an idea. That we're kind of throwing out there, and maybe it would really benefit one small subdivision town. Maybe it doesn't, it's something to look at.
Thing is, though, if you throw it out there, then there's gonna be developers from away that see that, and they're gonna be, oh, let's do a cluster development here, boom, throw all these houses in. And all these people, it doesn't benefit the people in the town, because people from away are buying it, and we're just adding more. Into our town in a cluster, rather than keeping the look of our town.
But this isn't going into your ordinance. This is just a suggestion for the planning board to consider. That,
But there's also a law saying that the planning board has to follow suit with the. Comprehensive plan, so. If we do anything to our. Ordinances, we have to follow what the comprehensive plan says.
and all these are doing is exploring and investigating, and what that exploring and investigating is left up to the planning board. So if you Google search it, you say, man, look like junk, then you investigated it, that's on you, and that's on the town.
Say that again,
We're saying to explore, investigate, consider. We're not saying you have to do this in the majority of these policies and strategies. We're saying this is an idea for, that we want the town to consider. Consideration, it's consideration, how much consideration, my consideration, and your consideration, and yours are all gonna look different.
So it's not a must do.
No, none of this is, there's very few must do's in here. I think some of the, like, review and amend and update all ordinances.
Yeah,
That's not really left up to choice, cause that's just best practice.
No, it's, and I understand where Craig's coming from, because these are
I
bonded, they are
I
bonded.
just bought 32
No.
acres.
Comprehensive plan and ordinances are bonded, but usually it's the ordinance that's referencing the comprehensive plan. You know, like the sign thing. Digital sign, internal lit signs can only be in growth areas designated by the comprehensive plan. So it's not the comprehensive plan telling the commercial ordinance what the regulations are. It's the other way around.
well, we've kind of been misled a little bit about that, though, because. Well, we just have,
I think that's what, we're gonna try to express during this public meeting, is try to make sure people understand that it's just a blueprint for, you know, consideration,
Not a must do.
not a must do.
Well, but with the ADUs, comprehensive plan kind of did drive the ADU ordinance.
In a way,
So, yeah, it's a two-way street.
right, they both impact each other.
Yeah, the ADU was a
and
state
they-
requirement.
And they did have provisions for the comprehensive plan in there.
Yeah,
There's another fun law like that coming down too, might be happening.
what's that?
There's another fun one coming through. If it gets through the federal level. That would probably end up coming down similar to LD 2003.
what's that?
It is sponsored by Angus King and is the farmland to workforce.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
Adding for farmers that encourage them to have residential
Property.
to build 2 rental units
2 rental units.
inside, attached, or on their property.
And was there an offer of funds to do that?
So we do it on the consolidated land over in Fairfield.
So that's the policies and strategies for housing. For natural, I did continue to educate municipal staff and residents on best management practices and other opportunities to ensure Belgrade's natural water resources are healthy and vibrant for generations. Strategies to continue to train town road crews in DEP standards for erosion and sedimentation control and apply to all town-owned road and facilities projects. Request lake associations to provide information for distribution of the town office, promoting voter awareness of sensitive wildlife populations and habitats on the lakes. Expand and update information provided at town hall to include pamphlets on tax law, conservation easements, road management, runoff impacts on water quality, and more. Do you like those ones? And then future land use to support the locations, types, scales, and intensities of land uses the community desires as stated in its vision. Strategy was using the descriptions provided in the future land use plan narrative, maintain, enact, or amend local ordinances as appropriate to clearly define the desired scale, intensity, and location of future development. Establish or maintain fair and efficient permitting procedures and explore streamlining permitting growth procedures and growth. Explore streamlining permitting procedures in growth areas. Clearly define protective measures for critical natural resources and where applicable. Important natural resources, clearly define protective measures for any proposed critical rural areas. And or critical waterfront areas if proposed.
I think that does the overview nicely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It gives an explanation and the major,
yeah.
major issues and strategy, how we do it. Anything else?
I mean, I guess, is there anything else that we need to decide on? For our public meeting? I'll get this PowerPoint out to everyone, with these changes, and then just. As long as there's no changes that you guys let me know about, we'll consider it ready for the
Yeah.
presentation. We have the QR code for the survey. And it does say if you would prefer a paper copy, please see any of the comp plan committee members.
You can send it to our committee so we can review it and practice.
Yeah.
Practice our roles.
We know if there's a microphone there? Is that necessary? When I remember, it's a pretty big room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big echoing room.
Okay,
I'll ask.
There is, yeah, there is some like that, I mean, we use it like for town meetings.
Yeah.
Not quite. Is there or?
Anything else today?
I think so. Is there anything else we need to go over before our public session? I think that's kind of the big one.
Just the logistics of it, getting it set up.
Yeah.
So we have it starting at 5:30.
Mhm.
So what time are you guys all planning on getting there? I mean, I can get there 4:30,
Yeah, just
make sure we can.
make sure everything works. Let us run through it.
Do we, set up the chairs or will,
I don't know.
I don't know, I'll ask.
No.
Yeah, no, it's
No.
planned.
No, we don't set the chairs up. How many chairs should I say to Dan that we need to, and want to have an estimate?
It's hard to say.
50?
You could have, I would think that'd be plenty, but I don't know, who knows?
Okay,
I mean, you can go from your respondents. You know, people that concerned, and figure maybe 2 or 1.5 per household, so.
Yeah,
it could be
100.
100.
100 respondents, so 1.5 would be 75 chairs.
But some of those respondents are seasonal people who aren't going to be here.
Yeah.
Back down to 50.
Yeah.
Well, I think the chairs are easy enough to grab
Yeah.
if there's more.
Can pull them right off and.
Yeah.
It's
So
very
we'll
workable.
do 50.
I'll bring a big printout of our map.
Oh, that's.
Is there any other imagery that we want? We have our large scale printer. Any handouts, anything like that?
I think handouts will be good, you know, where we can, like for the natural resource parts, and people can look at it and.
Mhm.
Okay, what do you want in the handout?
Maybe just a recap of what your PowerPoint is.
Yeah.
You know, some of the highlights.
Do we want to print out the PowerPoint?
I mean, looks good.
Yeah,
Okay.
That way they can
That's a
take it home.
takeaway too.
yeah, something you
Yeah.
can look and bring back and, okay,
Yeah,
that's what they said.
Yeah, and that
that's
way,
what I-
you know,
I
we
mind
talk
that.
about it, they can show their friends and talk, you know, about more.
Is there a copy machine there if we need to make copies or?
Your large scale printer.
Yeah.
Print the maps from the GIS. Or just,
Yeah, I mean, as long as I can download it as a JPEG.
I mean, a large scale of the aquifer might be a good
Okay,
public
Yeah.
information,
Mm,
considering. You know, the
Because
change,
we may get questions on the growth area, where's that, where's this, and
right,
some discussion.
and if we're gonna maybe possibly discuss the aquifer, it should be shown, so people would have to
Where it is.
know exactly that, you know. It's right underneath us here.
I did do away with the overlay corridor that was in the last plan. I wasn't ever able to really find any reference to it anywhere, so I just kind of scrapped it. Joel said it was originally done for, to encourage commercial development, but it was never. It doesn't sound like it ever made it into the commercial development review ordinance, so I think it was necessary to keep.
I mean, because people are concerned with our environmental health, and I think there's a.
Okay.
You know, they know there's salt in certain waters, and they should know visually. Have a reference.
Yeah.
Robert, do you have anything to add before we
No.
make a motion to adjourn? Any questions from you guys? We're all set?
Hopefully.
I hear a motion to adjourn,
I motion to adjourn.
second,
I second that
all
motion.
in favor? Yes.
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Thank you guys for coming.
We played markets today.
Pastel highlighters.